Welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Elizabeth Omori. And our sign language interpreter is Hannah Olainka. Now let's take a look at the headlines. Agencies to deal decisively with perpetrators of crude oil theft. INEC tasks accredited observers on respect for the sovereignty of Nigeria as they monitor 2023 general elections. Plus, more groups sue for peaceful and credible presidential election. We begin with the 2023 general elections. Accredited observers for the 2023 general elections have been advised to respect the sovereignty of Nigeria. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu gave the directive at a meeting with international and domestic observers ahead of this week's presidential and National Assembly elections. Mia Ugidi reports.
Countdown to 2023 general elections in Nigeria. Seventh in the series in the Fourth Republic. The umpire meeting the observer. 229 international and domestic groups deploying 146,913 observers. Gathered here at the International Conference Center, Abuja, interacting for a single purpose, that is, to ensure each free, credible exercise.
You are also free to observe the ability of all stakeholders to participate in the process without fear, intimidation, and violence.
A classroom of some sort, INEC giving them detailed engagements of the processes, facts and figures, issues to observe, and code of conduct.
You are, by definition, observers. Do not interfere with the process or show partisanship. In addition, international observers must be guided by the fact that the election is conducted by and in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, whose sovereignty must be respected.
And we are very, very careful with it. We are going to respect the code of conduct. And it is our belief that this election will be free, except for the fears of the Naira redesign and the swap, and it's hindering a lot of movements. That may perhaps, to some extent, account for apathy on this election.
These observers will be deployed to 176,606 polling units nationwide by their respective groups. At the end, their reports will be part of INEC's recommendations for future elections. Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
Police Chaplain Sustainable Development Law Enforcement has commended the Independent National Electoral Commission for its preparedness to conduct the general elections, as well as allowing many international observer missions to the exercise. The head of the mission of the International Police Chaplain Sustainable Development Law Enforcement stated this in Abuja. Haman Jabani reports.
The role of an observer is to observe the election process and, as appropriate, ask procedural questions from election officials. The mission of an observer is all geared towards the conduct of a free, fair, and credible election. And this is what the International Police Chaplain Sustainable Development Law Enforcement wants to see in the 2023 general elections. The organization, which is observing election in Nigeria for the first time and will be in the country for 3 weeks.
Our goals for this mission is to do our best to contribute to an credible and democratic election. We are available to prove how our goals is our logic and is our lifestyle.
Any negative stuff that happens to Nigeria will definitely affect nations of the world. They need to deploy from the headquarters in the US to be in Nigeria so that they can as well support the government.
The team has situation rooms in Lagos and Abuja and will work with other security agencies in seeing to peaceful electoral processes.
We will be observing this election in the 36th state of the Federation, including Abuja, the FCT. We want to be sure that we maintain 100% peace during and after the election.
Most leaders develop all their traits from their youthful ages. And most of our leaders today, we are youths in those days. They are still around. We are now here, we have known the history. We are trying to keep peace.
They call on electorates to observe all electoral guidelines put in by INEC for the conduct of the elections. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Civil Society Directorate of the All Progressives Congress 2023 Tinubu Shetima Presidential Campaign Council has expressed confidence that its candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will secure the majority support of voters on Saturday. The Directorate has acknowledged the latest support from 30 civil society organizations who promised votes for Bola Ahmed Tinubu come Saturday.
But because of the simple conviction that we have that there is a need for continuity in this government, whether we like it or not, the President Muhammadu Buhari, no matter what it is, has embarked on legacy projects, has performed relatively well.
On the part of the Renew Hope Ambassador of Nigeria, we have also come out boldly the day that we unveiled our program that we had delivered 3.5 million votes.
For instance, in the Northwest, where I come from, we are just waiting for the coordinator of the Northwest. On the day he will receive the campaigns, we have about 1.5 million who are ready to join the APC just because of the reach out.
There are a whole lot of northern people. Erufai is a northerner, Gadoje is a northerner, Buni is a northerner, Yahaya Bello is a northerner. I'm mentioning governors, people with coat of arms that are already moving for the actualization of the Asewaju's mandate.
Said Bola Ahmed Tinubu's plan for the less privileged, as contained in his campaign manifesto, earned him their support.
If he comes on board as a president, we'll make sure that he changes the program from the way it used to be to a complete program that will give adequate term and conditions for people that were they were enrolled under that scheme.
We are supporting Bola Ahmed Tinubu because of his support to Al-Majiri. Al-Majiri group is Al-Majiri that are reciting the Holy Quran. So we are supporting him for his support to that group of Al-Majiri.
Final shopping for their preferred candidates, few days to the polls. The Emir of Zauzau, Hamid Nuhu Bamali, has stressed the need for candidates vying for elective positions to place national interest above any other consideration. The royal father stated this while receiving the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, on a courtesy visit at his palace. Sagir Awal reports.
The presidential candidate of Labour Party and his running mates alongside party faithful in Kaduna State were at the Emir of Zazzau Palace to seek for his royal blessings. Emir of Zazzau Mala Ahmad Nuba Mali says issues of insecurity, unemployment, agricultural and power transformation, youth restiveness in the north, among other issues, should be the cardinal principles of any incoming president.
What Nigerians need today is anybody who can, give direction, guarantee security and lives of people.
Presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, noted that the country is blessed with both human and natural resources, hence the need for a pragmatic leader that will properly utilize them for the rapid development of the country.
Yeah. I believe in Nigeria, and we have to deal with it. It is time to throw away what divides us and bring in what unites us. My commitment is to do that. And investment in corporations.
Peter Obi vowed to salvage the North and bring back its past glory if elected. From Zaria, Sagir Awal, NTA News.
With few days to the presidential and National Assembly elections, youth in the country have been tasked on peaceful conduct during and after the elections. This was the charge by Global Peace Foundation Nigeria when they assembled representatives of youth organizations in Abuja for peace dialogue. Austin Aibe reports.
Past elections in Nigeria were not without pockets of protest in some parts of the country, and this is what the organization wants to discourage, saying youth should channel their energy towards ensuring that the elections are peaceful, fair and credible.
It is high time that the youth of Nigeria realize that we cannot continue to live in the past. We have to move with the global world, and the global world elections are held and people celebrate candidates, but no cases of violence. Even if there are, it doesn't escalate to the point that you bring a total breakdown of law and order.
We're trying to bring the youth, speak to our consciences, speak to ourselves, and then challenge the youth to wake up, take the responsibility of moving Nigeria forward. The Nigeria we're talking about today is our Nigeria.
Organizers believe that development can only be achieved through a violent-free exercise, hence enjoin the electorate to eschew all forms of conflict.
It's not about violence and something. We have to choose the right one, and we have to make sure that we choose the ones that will help us in the future.
Make sure that we make peace reign at our polling units by the special grace of God.
The organization is continuing with its peace advocacy across the country. In Abuja, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
More Nigerians in civil societies are joining the campaign to achieve a peaceful and credible election. The Africa Youth Group Foundation is adding voice to the campaign with an appeal to INEC and security agencies to improve on their previous records of transparency. Executive Director of the group, Aramet Salifu, is optimistic that a peaceful conduct of the 2023 general elections will set the pace for enhanced development of the nation's infrastructure and economy. He wants the youth to resist the temptation of playing to the gallery and see the election as a project to build a peaceful Nigeria.
For the politicians, they ultimately desire to win the elections. They must do so within the ambience of the law. The promotion of political violence and the spread of disinformation and misinformation, including vote buying, hate speeches, and unguided statements, are capable of undermining the democratic process, public peace, and harmony. Politicians and their followers must promote their messages with a very high degree of responsibility towards ensuring that sanctity and integrity of the electoral process are guaranteed.
Emancipation of youth through ideological development across Africa. Health Sector Reform Coalition, a conglomerate of more than 100 civil society organizations, has enjoined those that will be in charge of governance after the elections to ensure universal health coverage target becomes a priority. At a news conference in Abuja, the coalition emphasized that it has become imperative to place so much premium on the health sector. Olusheye Adiabu reports.
Achieving universal health coverage, UHC, is the goal this coalition is setting for leaders that will emerge after the general elections. The global health body has advised that political commitment is required to build a strong health system. Actualizing this, the Nigeria Health Watch has been engaging civil society organizations and the media to spread the message.
Whoever wins, we now hold them accountable. What they have promised, we are making ourselves as Health Sector Reform Coalition available to support whoever it is that wins to make sure that we have universal health coverage.
And what are we looking for? Quality healthcare services for all. It's only a healthy population that can be creative and innovative and progressive socioeconomically.
The coalition has now presented a document that highlights result areas on the state of Nigeria's health system and the level of commitment to health based on political party and their candidates' manifesto.
I think the civil society has decided to take advantage of the policy reset window that comes with the election to be more active in the space and engage better the political class in terms of shaping the health agenda.
For the Health Sector Reform Coalition, NSRC, The overarching goal of the exercise is to submit ideas on improving citizens' health status and activating a culture of holding the political class accountable to their health promises. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International. Time to take a breather. More reports ahead. To stay with us.
Mommy, it is time for us to leave this place.
One of your earrings is missing.
No one will find it.
I'm not willing to take that chance.
Have a big plan, Mommy.
What do you want?
I want a senior position at Dubai.
If anything happens to me, go through the content of this envelope and check every single thing.
It's done. No one will ever find out the truth.
Every Nigerian wants to see transparency in the collation of election results. To achieve this, INEC has introduced a dedicated public election results viewing portal known as the INEC Results Viewing Portal, IREV. Here are some benefits of the portal. 1. Enable Nigerians to view polling unit results in real time as voting ends on election day. 2. It enables reduced misinformation from some fake news portals on the internet. 3. It will also strengthen the election management process and enhance transparency of the system. Viewing election results is now as easy as ABC by following these steps. 1. Visit inecelectionresults.ng.com. 2. Click on Create New Account using your Gmail address. 3. Fill in your details on the form provided and click Sign In. 4. Provide your state of origin and click on Continue. 5. Activate your account with the email sent to you via the email address provided on the form. 6. Check your email and correctly copy out the activation code, which will then be entered into the text box provided on the portal. 7. Click Activate. 8. You will then be logged into the portal and you can now select the election results you wish to view. You can also use the filter button to make the search easier, and voila! You can now monitor election results in real time. With IREV, every Nigerian can be part of the entire election process. Your vote counts. Use it wisely. INEC, making your votes count. Consolidating our democracy. This message is supported by the European Union's support to democratic governance in Nigeria, EU SDGN.
Thanks for staying with us. And a bit from the oil and gas sector, the federal government has given clear directives to security agencies to deal decisively with those involved in crude oil bunkering and pipeline vandalism in the country. Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo stated this at a conference on crude oil theft and loss in Nigeria. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
The constant loss in oil production due to illegal activities is affecting the nation's economy, especially revenue generation. To curb this menace, the Office of the National Security Advisor, based on the order of President Muhammadu Buhari, constituted an investigative panel in December 2022 to checkmate oil theft. It's 2023, job done. This conference provides the panel an opportunity to present its report as well as deliberate with stakeholders on possible ways to stem this tide.
Today's event, therefore, aims at consolidating on what has been achieved so far. Our intention is to facilitate honest, thought-provoking conversations through critical thinking and brainstorming sessions that will inspire solutions to this problem.
Addressing crude oil theft requires strong interagency collaboration.
If the community are not involved and engaged, then obviously doing anything in their backyard will not have their commitment.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, describes oil theft as a danger to Nigeria's national economy and security.
Once the host communities, especially the individuals who may be involved in these actions, are sensitized as to the importance of ensuring that the act works, the insurance of ensuring that legislation works to their benefit, then I think that things may well improve.
It is expected that the outcome of the conference will help towards bringing lasting solutions to oil theft in Nigeria. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
U.S. President Joe Biden in Poland after surprise visit to Kyiv, just as new 6.4 magnitude quake hits Turkey and Syria. These and more with Uche Ogochukwu on Global Updates.
Chinese Navy warships are now part of the joint maritime drills with South Africa and Russia. The controversial drills, dubbed MOSI, meaning smoke in the local Tswana language, are scheduled to take place between February 17 and 27 off the port cities of Durban and Richards Bay. They are the second in a series of routine drills that Pretoria hosts with foreign nations, including Russia. In another development, Russian President Vladimir Putin has announced Moscow's suspension of its participation in a key arms control treaty with the United States. President Putin, in his State of the Nation address ahead of the first anniversary of Moscow's special military operation in Ukraine, warned that citizens who had betrayed the country must be brought to justice. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden arrived Poland Monday evening after making a surprise visit to Kyiv earlier in a show of solidarity with Ukraine, just days before the one-year anniversary of Russia's invasion. President Biden pledged Washington's unwavering support for Ukraine for as long as it takes and a further $500 million in aid. In just 2 weeks, rescuers are again searching for people trapped under rubble in Turkey after another earthquake hit the country, killing at least 6 people. A 6.4 magnitude tremor struck near the city of Antakya, near the border with Syria, where massive quakes devastated both countries on February 6. Buildings weakened by those tremors collapsed in both countries on Monday. Similarly, in Africa, Madagascar and Mozambique brace for the arrival of Cyclone Freddy, which is expected to make landfalls this week. That's the Global Update. I am Uche Ogochukwu.
Thank you, Uche, for the updates. The Central Bank of Nigeria has described as fake a press release purported to have emanated from the bank to the effect that President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the reissuance and release of old 500 and 1,000 naira notes as legal tender in the country. The CBN, in a statement jointly signed by Edward Adamu, Deputy Governor Corporate Services, and Osita Unwanibosi, Director Corporate Communications, reiterated that only 200 old notes are to be reissued and to circulate concurrently with the new notes as directed by President Muhammadu Buhari. The statement therefore advised the public to ignore the fake news as the bank is working with law enforcement agencies to investigate, apprehend, and prosecute the purveyors of the fake news. Meanwhile, proceedings have continued in the dispute between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, over the suspended industrial action embarked upon by the academic body in 2022. Olabode Arewa reports that the jurisdiction of the Industrial Court to hear the matter formed the basis of Tuesday's hearing.
Members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities had in October last year suspended their 7.5 months industrial action to protest the alleged poor welfare conditions in universities. ASU had also appealed the industrial court's ruling directing its members to return to the classroom pending the conclusion of the main issue in dispute referred to the court by the federal government. Citing the provisions of the Trade Disputes Act of 2004, the federal government had argued that ASU members were essential workers who could not go on strike arbitrarily. However, ASU had in its preliminary objection argued that the federal government's failure to first approach the Industrial Arbitration Panel over the matter has robbed the Industrial Court of jurisdiction to hear the suit. In a related matter, hearing also continued on the suit filed by ASU objecting to the registration of 2 new university trade unions by the Minister of Labour. Hearing on the 2 issues in dispute have been adjourned to March 28 for continuation. Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
And next is a look at the weather prospect for Nigeria and other cities around the world. That ends the news at this time on NTA International. Thank you so much for your time. Do remember to always join the campaign against rape and rapists. I'm Elizabeth Omori, and our sign language interpreter is Hannah Olayinka.